There's something happening right at this moment that could completely change your life, but most people can't see it. Thousands of women around the world are reporting the same disturbing experience, unexplainable signs that a higher force is working to remove toxic people from their lives. These aren't coincidences, they're divine interventions. The person who has been causing you so much suffering, who manipulates your emotions, who makes you question your own sanity, this person may be being removed from your life by God right now, even without you realizing it. The signs are everywhere. Strange situations start happening, doors mysteriously close, this person's mask begins to fall in front of others, your own body starts reacting differently. Wayne Dyer taught for decades that there are no coincidences in the universe. And when you discover these 3 unmistakable signs that will be revealed in this video, everything will make sense. But there's a dangerous trap that can completely sabotage this divine protection. An internal resistance that makes you fight against the very liberation being offered to you. If you're watching this now, it might be that God is using this moment to open your eyes to something that's been happening for months in your life. Something you interpreted as bad luck, but which is actually pure heavenly mercy. The first sign that God is removing the narcissist from your life is when the mental fog they created in you begins to dissipate. You know that constant confusion you feel, that sensation that you're going crazy. Let me explain what really happens. The narcissist functions like a hacker of your mind. They implant doubts, contradictions, and an alternative reality so convincing that you stop trusting your own perception. But when God decides it's time, something magical happens. The fog lifts. Suddenly, you start remembering things they denied saying. You recover fragments of your own reality that they tried to erase. It's like someone had turned on a light in a dark room where you'd been stumbling for years. Wayne Dyer used to say that change of perception is miracle. And when you realize you're not crazy, that your memories are real, that your intuition was always right, that's a divine miracle happening. A client told me that after 3 years in a destructive relationship, she woke up one morning and simply knew. It wasn't gradual. It was like an inner voice screamed, "He's lying about everything." And for the first time in years, she didn't doubt that voice. This isn't coincidence, it's divine intervention. The narcissist counts on your mental confusion to maintain control. When God removes that confusion, their power over you crumbles instantly. You might be feeling this right now watching this video. That sudden clarity, that sensation of, finally I understand what was happening to me. But here's what you need to know about the second sign. And this one will shock you, because it has to do with how other people start reacting to the narcissist in your life. By the way, tell me in the comments what city you're watching from. I'm curious to know where the people are who have the courage to seek the truth. The second sign that God is working is when the narcissist's masks begin to fall in front of other people. And this is devastating for them. Narcissists are masters of social theater. They build an impeccable public persona while destroying you in private. But when the divine time for your liberation has come, something extraordinary happens. They begin to expose themselves. It's as if God withdrew the protection that allowed them to maintain that perfect facade. Suddenly they explode in front of your friends. They make an embarrassing scene at a restaurant. They show sick jealousy at a family party. People who once thought you were lucky to have such a caring partner start asking those delicate questions. Is everything okay? Does he always treat you like that? Wayne Dyer taught that what is real always comes to the surface. The narcissist's true nature cannot stay hidden when God decides it's time for revelation. A woman came to me after her narcissistic husband of 15 years had a rage attack in front of his parents. For the first time, his family saw what she suffered at home. It was like an invisible barrier had broken, she told me. This doesn't happen by chance. It's divine strategy, because isolation is the narcissist's most powerful weapon. They need you to feel alone, for no one else to see what you see. When their social protection crumbles, their control over you becomes unsustainable. You may have noticed this recently. Maybe he was rude to your mother on the phone, or she made a cruel comment about you in front of friends. Situations where before they were perfect in public. This isn't a failure on their part. It's God removing the veil that protected them. And here's the most important part. When this happens, you don't need to convince anyone of anything. The truth reveals itself. But there's a third sign that's even more powerful, and it has to do with physical changes in your body that you might be feeling at this very moment. The third sign is the deepest. Your body begins to awaken from the state of chronic trauma that the narcissist created in you. Have you ever stopped to think why you always felt exhausted around this person? Why you had constant headaches, digestive problems, insomnia? Your body was in a permanent state of alert, like a cornered animal that can never relax because the predator is always nearby. But when God decides it's time for your liberation, something phenomenal happens. Your nervous system begins to regulate itself. Suddenly you sleep better when they're not home. Your energy returns when you don't talk for a few days. You feel less anxiety when you think about a future without this person. Wayne Dyer always said that our body is the temple of our soul. And when the soul is being poisoned by a narcissist, the body screams for help. But when the divine time for liberation has come, the body is also the first to feel the relief. It's as if every cell in your body knew the threat was being removed before even your conscious mind accepted it. A client described it to me like this. It was like I had been holding my breath for 5 years and could finally breathe deeply. My body knew it was safe to let go before I even got the courage to break up. This is pure divine wisdom operating through your biology. Narcissists feed on your vital energy. They drain your strength, your joy, your inner peace. It's literally energetic parasitism. When God decides to protect you from this drainage, your body is the first to celebrate. You might be feeling this now, a lightness you hadn't felt in years, a hope you thought you'd lost forever. Pay attention to the physical signs. They don't lie. But here's the most crucial part. Even with all these divine signs screaming, "Get out," there's an internal force that can completely sabotage this heavenly protection. Now I need to tell you about the internal saboteur that can destroy all the signs God is sending you. The addiction to drama that the narcissist created in you. This is going to hurt to hear, but it's necessary. Narcissistic relationships function like a drug. They create addictive cycles of extreme tension, followed by temporary relief. It's like an emotional roller coaster that your brain begins to confuse with true love. Wayne Dyer explained that we become what we are constantly in contact with. And if you're constantly in contact with emotional chaos, your nervous system adapts to this state as if it were normal. Here's the problem. When God tries to give you peace, your drama-addicted brain interprets this as boredom or emptiness. Now, you might be feeling this now. Even knowing this person is bad for you, there's a part of you that misses the intensity, the drama, even the fights. It's as if life without this emotional roller coaster seemed boring. This isn't love. It's trauma bonding, a survival mechanism your brain developed to deal with intermittent abuse. A woman told me, "I knew I had to leave, but when I was alone at home, in peace, I felt strange, like something was missing." What was missing was the constant adrenaline of conflict. Narcissists are masters at creating this chemical dependency. They give you precise doses of affection followed by rejection, creating an intermittent reward system that is literally addictive. When God tries to free you from this chemical prison, you might feel symptoms similar to withdrawal, anxiety, emptiness, even longing for the person who was destroying you. But understand, this isn't a sign that you should go back. It's a sign that the addiction is being broken. True peace might seem strange at first when you've spent years living in chaos, but this is how God wants you to live, in peace, not in panic. And there's a specific way God shows you that the time has come to leave definitively. The most definitive sign that God is removing the narcissist from your life is when the exit doors begin to open by themselves, without you having to force anything. Suddenly, a job opportunity appears in another city. A perfect apartment appears within your budget. You receive an unexpected inheritance that gives you financial independence. Your lawyer calls with good news about the divorce. These aren't coincidences. It's divine synchronicity. Wayne Dyer always taught that when you're aligned with your purpose, the universe conspires in your favor. And your purpose never includes being destroyed by a narcissist. But here's what's fascinating. These doors only open when you're internally ready to walk through them. God won't open an escape route for you to run back to prison. He waits until you're ready to receive the freedom He wants to give you. A client of mine spent 2 years trying to leave an abusive marriage without success. Every attempt was sabotaged somehow, until one day she finally completely surrendered the situation to God and said, "I can't fight anymore. If you want to get me out of here, I trust you." Within a week, she received 3 job offers, found an incredible apartment, and her narcissistic husband announced he was moving to another state. This wasn't luck. It was perfect divine timing, because God doesn't just want to get you out of the toxic relationship. He wants to get you out in a way that you never doubt again that it was He who did it. When doors open by themselves, you can no longer say it was coincidence or that maybe you're exaggerating. You know, deep in your soul, that you were protected by a greater force. And this gives you unshakable confidence to never again accept less than you deserve. Pay attention to the opportunities that are arising in your life now, to the right people who are appearing, to the resources that are becoming available. God might be offering you the exit you've been asking for years. But before you can recognize these divine opportunities, you need to understand why you might be rejecting heavenly help. The most painful reason why you might be rejecting divine protection is because the narcissist managed to convince you that you don't deserve to be saved. They implanted in your mind the belief that you are the problem, that you're too dramatic, too sensitive, too demanding, that no one else will love you, that you should be grateful to have someone who tolerates you. These are lies from hell, and when God tries to show you the truth, you reject it because you can't believe you deserve better. Wayne Dyer taught that you cannot give what you don't have, and if you don't have self-love, you can't receive God's love that wants to protect you. It's like God is extending His hand to pull you out of a pit, but you keep saying, "No, I deserve to be down here." The narcissist worked hard to create this mental prison in you. They need you to believe you have no options, that you have no value, that you don't deserve to be treated with dignity. Because if you knew your true worth, you would never accept the crumbs of affection they offer you. One of the most devastating things I hear from women who come to me is, "But what if he's right? What if I really am impossible to love?" Honey, if you were impossible to love, God wouldn't be moving heaven and earth to protect you right now. The truth is that you are so valuable that the very creator of the universe cannot bear to see you being destroyed by someone who cannot recognize the treasure you are. But the narcissist knows that if you discover your worth, the game is over. That's why they invest so much in convincing you otherwise. God is showing you the signs because He wants you to remember who you really are, a beloved, precious daughter who deserves to be treated with reverence and care. It's not selfishness to want this, it's recognition of the divine truth about your worth. And when you start believing this, you'll understand why God cannot leave you in the hands of someone who cannot honor what you represent. The last resistance you will face before accepting divine protection is fear of the unknown. And this fear is real, valid, and understandable. You might be thinking, what if I leave and stay alone forever? What if no one else wants me? What if I'm throwing away the only chance at love I'll have in life? These fears were planted by the narcissist and fed by a society that teaches us that any relationship is better than no relationship. Lie. Wayne Dyer said that you attract not what you want, but what you are. And while you're vibrating at the energy of someone who accepts crumbs, that's what you'll continue to attract. God wants to prepare you for something infinitely better, but He can't deliver it while your hands are busy holding on to what is inferior. Let me tell you about Sarah. She stayed 12 years in a marriage with a narcissist because she was afraid of being alone at 40. When she finally had the courage to leave at 43, she thought it was too late to start over. 6 months later, she met a man who treats her like a queen. Today, they've been married for 3 years, and she told me, if I had known love like this existed, I would have left 11 years earlier. What you consider too late, God considers perfect timing. The unknown is scary because the narcissist conditioned you to believe that the world out there is hostile, that people are all selfish, that you don't have the skills to manage on your own. More lies. The truth is that you are stronger, more capable, and more resilient than you imagine. You survived years of psychological abuse. You can handle anything. And God isn't calling you to emptiness. He's calling you to purpose, to the life you should have been living from the beginning. Fear of the unknown is normal, but don't let it prevent you from receiving the miracle God wants to perform in your life. Because on the other side of fear is everything you've always dreamed of. Peace, true love, respect, genuine joy. And now I'm going to show you exactly how to respond when God gives you these signs. When you recognize that God is working to remove the narcissist from your life, your response can determine whether you'll cooperate with the divine plan or fight against it. The first thing you need to do is stop trying to fix the situation. How many times have you tried to talk, explain, beg, change your behavior hoping things would improve? Hundreds, thousands? Wayne Dyer taught that insanity is doing the same thing over and over, expecting different results. And trying to change a narcissist is exactly that, insanity. When God shows you it's time to leave, He's not asking you to try one more time. He's asking you to trust that He has something better. The second thing is to start making practical choices aligned with the signs you're receiving. If God is opening financial doors, use them for your independence, not to please the narcissist. If He's giving you mental clarity, document the abuse instead of questioning your sanity. If He's showing the narcissist's true face to other people, don't try to protect their reputation. Cooperate with the divine plan instead of sabotaging it. The third thing is to seek spiritual and emotional support. God rarely works alone. He sends the right people at the right time, therapists, true friends, family members who understand, support groups. Don't try to go through this alone. Accept the help God is sending through other people. And finally, pray. Not for God to change the narcissist, but for Him to give you courage to accept the liberation He's offering. God, I trust that You know what's best for me. Give me strength to accept the protection You're offering me. This simple prayer can change everything, because when you stop fighting against God and start flowing with Him, the impossible becomes possible, and you finally understand that you weren't trapped because you were weak. You were trapped because it wasn't the right time yet, but now it is. Now God is saying that, my daughter, your time to be free has come. If you've made it this far, it wasn't by chance. God wanted you to hear this message today because He has a special promise for your life. The promise is this: everything the narcissist stole from you, your joy, your peace, your self-confidence, your ability to love and be loved, all of this will be restored double. It's not just a promise that you'll get out of this situation. It's a promise that you'll prosper like you never imagined possible. Wayne Dyer always said that our intentions create our reality. And God's intention for you was never suffering. It was abundance, love, fulfillment. The narcissist was just a detour on the path, not the final destination. You'll be surprised by the strong woman who will emerge from this situation. You'll discover talents you didn't know you had. You'll develop sharp intuition that will never again let you be deceived. You'll learn to love in a healthy way. You'll attract people who genuinely value you. You'll create a life so full that you'll thank God for taking you out of where you were. But all of this begins with a decision. Will you trust the signs God is sending you? Because He's speaking to you through this video right now. It's no coincidence you're here. The signs are all there. Mental clarity returning, masks falling, your body awakening, doors opening. God is saying, my precious daughter, the time has come for you to be free. The only question that remains is, will you say yes? If you said yes in your heart, leave a comment down below, just writing, I trust. This will strengthen your faith and inspire other women who are going through the same situation. And if this video touched your heart, share it with someone who needs to hear this message. It might be that God wants to use you to reach a sister who is suffering in silence. Subscribe to the channel for more content that will help you on this journey of liberation and healing. Remember, you are not alone. God is with you, and your time to be happy has come.